Hey, let's get into the chord theory portion now. So yeah, if you have a C and then a triangle, the triangle means major 7. Did you know that? It's not used very often. Usually you just see it as MAJ7. So let's do this. So major 7 equals the intervals 1, 3, 5, oops, and 7. So in this case, it's C major 7. We got the notes C, E, G, and B. So how can we figure that out? How do we know that's really the case? So we know this. So we got to know what the major scale is first. So if we play a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. There's the root note again. So the first note, C, the third note, E, the fifth note, G, and the seventh note, B. Those are the notes that make a C major 7. So as you're playing the first, third, fifth, and seventh note of a major scale at the same time, well, that gives you a major 7th chord right there. So that's a very typical way of doing a C major 7. 3, 2, 0, 0, 0. So it gets into much more interesting arpeggios coming up here. So let's continue on. All right, so minor 7. The difference here. So to get the minor 7, what we do is we're going to take the third interval of the major 7 and the 7th interval of the major 7. We're going to flat both of those. So a C minor 7. We're going to have C. Now it's E flat, G, and B flat. So take those 4 notes we started with, C, E, G, B. Now we're going to flat the E and flat the B. So major 7, minor 7. Here's a nice way of playing a C major 7. But this is your root note, then your 5th interval, 7th interval, 3rd. So if we flatten the notes that the ring finger and pinky are on, now we got a minor 7. Major 7, minor 7. All right. Next. So minor major 7 is found in harmonic minor. I'm sure it's found in other ones too, but the one that comes to mind, well, yeah, Hungarian minor, it has that. So with this one, I think the easiest way to explain it is you take your minor 7 and you're going to take the flat 7th interval and raise that a half step to give the major 7. So here, minor major 7. Yeah, so we're taking, again, the minor 7th chord, and instead of having a flat 7 or a minor 7, we're going to make it a natural 7 or major 7. So a C minor major 7, as I tend to see it written, we have the notes C, E flat, G, B. Now when I was taught that specific chord there, I was taught minor natural 7. So you'd see minor and then a natural symbol 7, which makes sense to me because it's saying that you have a minor triad, the 1, flat 3, and 5, plus a natural 7, which is the same thing as a major 7. So natural 7th interval is a major 7 interval. Same thing. I've seen an odd way of spelling it, like in this case, instead of saying C minor major 7 or C minor natural 7, I've also seen it like C minor sharp 7. And I get what the author was trying to get at, because it's basically saying you take a minor 7th chord and then you sharp the flat 7. But if you look at it as just a sharp 7, I mean, it's really just the root note, because what is the 7th but, like, again, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's the 7th interval there. If you sharp it, well, you're just back to the 1. So I don't agree with that kind of spelling. I was like, yeah, I get it, but should we really call it that? But then again, that's the only time I've ever seen it. And I've also only seen it be called a minor natural 7 in the chord theory books that I was working out of. So typically, yes, minor major 7, that's what you see it called. Major 7 sharp 5. This is also in harmonic minor. So in this case, this chord is going to be the third chord in A harmonic minor. And what we do here, so it says major 7 sharp 5. So one of the nice things about like these big complicated chord names, they're, or I don't know if you even want to call this complicated, but it might be if you're unfamiliar with these sorts of things. Like it tells you what's happening in the chord name, like the interval structure. So major 7, like saying major tells you when you're starting off with that major 7. Well, major because we have a major triad first, and then you're adding the 7th interval to that. So major 7 sharp 5 is saying we have the same intervals as the major 7, except we take the 5 and raise it up a half step, giving us sharp 5th. Well, in this case, because we're doing everything starting on C, we're taking a C augmented chord and adding the 7th interval to it. So in this case, we'd have C, E, G sharp, and B. So another way to look at getting that augmented sound or the augmented chord, you start with the major chord, raise that 5th note up a half step. And there we have a C major 7 sharp 5. A minor 7 flat 5. This is also known as a half diminished 7. So minor 7 flat 5. So this is really taking a diminished triad, which is first flat 3rd, flat 5, and then adding a flat 7 to that. So in this chord we will have C minor 7 flat 5. That would give us the notes C, E flat, G flat, and B flat. So, C flat, E flat, G flat. Those are the 3 notes for a C diminished chord. And then the B flat. Dominant 7. This is taking a major triad and adding a flat 7 or minor 7th interval to it. So in this case, instead of writing C dominant 7, the typical way is just writing C7. And the notes for this are C, E, G, B flat. Now this guy's going to be testing my theory knowledge here coming up, because just thinking back on some of the things that he mentioned, holy moly. Let's see if I can see how well I can figure out some of these crazy jazz chords here. Dominant flat 5. Okay. So the names of the chord really give away what the interval structure is. So we know what a dominant 7th chord is. So a dominant 7 flat 5. Well, just look above there. If the dominant 7 is 1, 3, 5, flat 7, a dominant 7 flat 5 would need to be 1, 3, flat 5, flat 7. Which would give us, so this would be C7 flat 5. We have C, E, G flat, B flat. Dominant sharp 11. And that makes sense. Okay, so why would that? Let's go over that. What are the dominant sharp 11? So this one could be a bit confusing here, or a big mouthful. So what the hell is a dominant sharp 11? So with that, the way I like to explain it, the way I learned it. So we see dominant, that implies that we have the dominant 7 in there, the 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Okay, so that is implied in the name. Going all the way up to 11, that means we can have a ninth interval as well. And then we have the sharp 11. Now when it comes to like strumming chords, the way I was taught is like an 11th chord, we take a 7th chord and add the 11th interval to it. But I've also seen that as like 7 add 11. So I've seen it done 2 different ways. So I would say the 9th interval, if you're going to just strum a chord like that on the guitar, because we have limited fingers and strings, I would include the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and the sharp 11, if we're doing a dominant sharp 11. A lot of times the 5th interval can be expendable in the chord sound. In this case, I would say no. Because if we do that, if we don't have the 5 in here, it's just going to sound like a dominant 7 flat 5. We need that contrast of the 5 and the sharp 11 there, because the sharp 11 is the same note as a sharp 4, which is the same distance as a flat 5. Was that confusing? I understand why it would be. But if you know some theory, that might make sense. So if we do the notes here for a C, C dominant sharp 11, we could just say C. I guess there'd be a couple ways. You might say, because I wouldn't want to put it as C sharp 11. If you do that, well, now it looks like it's a C sharp as the root note, and then this is dominant 11th chord, but that's not the case. If we do it this way, chord-wise, if we were to strum it, that would make sense. We'd actually end up with, you could also say this is a C7 add sharp 11, the way I'm currently writing it out. So it should give us the 5, flat 7, and then sharp 11, which would give us the notes C, E, G, B flat, and F sharp. However, if we wanted to have all the notes or account for the 9th as well, we need to do C9 sharp 11. So that if you put C9 sharp 11, that implies all this stuff. It's basically a dominant 9 plus the sharp 11. I feel that's the best way to spell that out. So if we do that, the notes would be C, E, G, B flat, D, F sharp. So that's a hell of an arpeggio right there. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Chord-wise, so let's say if we took like a C major chord, turn it into a C dominant 7, and then you would have added in the sharp 11. I feel the easiest way to do that is just lower the 5, so you could say, oh, technically it's a sharp 4. Yes, but all the notes are there. Let me see, another way of doing that guy is... we do it like that. There's your C, there's a root note, there's the 5, that's the flat 7, there's the 3rd interval, there's your sharp 11. Arpeggio-wise, C, E, so doing all of the intervals there, including the 9th, C, E, G, B flat, D, and then the F sharp. Dominant sus4. C7 sus4. Dominant 7 sus4. Because that's really what's going on here. So in this case, we'd have a C7 sus4. So looking at that, you have to know some suspended chord information as well. So basically, it's just saying that you're taking the dominant 7 intervals, so the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then we're going to replace the third interval with a fourth. 1, 4, 5, flat 7. So that would give us a C, F, G, B flats. C, F, G, B flats. And he's about to say how he likes that because it has a very pentatonic sound. Well, it certainly does, because that's in a pentatonic scale. In fact, that's 4/5 of a pentatonic. 1, 2, 3, 4 notes. The only thing missing is that minor third. Dominant 7, sus4, flat 5. That's a mouthful. So what the heck does that give us? So again, just building off what we just looked at, you have a 1, 4, flat 5, flat 7. So we would have a C7, sus4, flat 5. Sometimes you see that in parentheses. That would give us the notes C, F, G flat, B flat. Which is a very Locrian sound. Which is also very Oriental sounding, I think. That's one of the Japanese pentatonic scales there. I don't remember which one though. So, diminished major 7. We have a diminished chord, 1, flat 3, flat 5, plus a major 7. So just that's that. So the notes we would end up getting would be C, or called this C diminished, and then we can just put that in parentheses, I suppose, major 7. And we would have the notes, we have C, E flat, flat, G flat for the diminished chord, and then a B note for the 7th. So we would have let's see, if we took actual C diminished and added the major 7, we would just take that octave of the root note and drop it a half step. Fully diminished. So fully diminished 7. That is very characteristic of harmonic minor. You want to sound harmonic minor? Play diminished 7. So that is a 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7. So you could also call this a minor 6, flat 5, because you end up with the same distance. I'll explain that in a second. So if we have a C diminished 7, we'd have C, E flat, G flat, B double flat. All right, so if we did the minor 6 flat 5, we'd have C, E flat, G flat, A. Now that might be weird, and you might wonder why have B double flat, why not just go A? It depends on the mode being used with whatever key you're working in. It's kind of a pedantic thing, but it's, you know, very, very specific with stuff. But that's, so yeah, if you have, again, your C diminished, and you go to the B flat, B double flat, I mean. So 12th fret on the A string is A, but basically like a mixolydian. If you took B mixolydian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you raise the B up to the C, that gives you, in harmonic minor, that would be the 7th mode, which is Superlocrian double flat 7, which gives us the intervals 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, double flat 7. So because of that mode, so we're counting up just the notes. So that's your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th note in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That 7th note is a step and a half below the root note. So that would mean if you go back a half step from the root note, which is where the 7 is, you go back a whole step from the root note, that is the flat 7 or minor 7, so a step and a half would be a double flat 7, which is the same note if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a major scale. Was that confusing? I don't blame you if it felt confusing, because when I learned this stuff, things like that were a big, what? What are you talking about? So there's your fully diminished 7. He gets into some crazy weird stuff here in a second. C major 7 with an A minor 9. Ooh, we're getting in depth here. So we got the C major 7 over here. So what is an A minor 9? Well, a minor 9 equals 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, plus a 9. So we mentioned A minor 9. So A minor 9 would give us the notes A, C, E, so there's your A minor chord, plus the G gives you your A minor 7, plus the B gives us an A minor 9. So there's an arpeggio for that. A flat major 9. Okay, A flat major 9. So in that case, it's basically a major 9 chord. Major 9 would equal the intervals 1, 3, 5, so there's your major triad, plus the 7 gives us our major 7, plus a 9, so that's a major 9. And he said A flat for the root notes. So A flat, major 9. All right, that's going to be A flat. That'll be C and E. E flat. And then the 7th of that is G. And the 9th of that would be B flat. So A flat, C, E flat, G, and then B flat. E flat major 6. So let's just start with what a major 6 is. Very close to a major 7. You have the major triad, but instead of a 7, now we have a 6. And he said E flat major 6. So E flat 6 is how you can write that, which would give us the notes. So chords for an E flat major chord, E flat of course, then we'd have G, B flat, and C. C is the 6th. flat major 6 arpeggio. A minor major 9. This is a lot like the minor major 7, where we have the minor 7 triad to start, and then we have just a natural 7, natural 9. So the notes for an A minor major 9, we would have the A minor chord first, A, C, and E. And then the natural 7, which is G sharp, plus a B. A, C, E, G sharp, and then the B. Let's see. So there's a way to play it. Or a way to strum the chord anyhow. A flat 9, which is just a dominant 9. So a dominant 9 is an extension of the dominant 7. So 1, 3, 5, you got your major triad plus the flat 7 or minor 7, which gives us the dominant 7th chord plus the 9. And that would be an A flat 9 right there. What are those notes? So an A flat major chord, A flat, C, E flat, and then we need a flat 7, which would be a G flat, plus the 9 is a B flat. So A flat, C, E flat, G flat. There is our dominant 9. B flat. Could also go here. That's a way you could bar a dominant 9. E flat, minor 6. Goodness gracious. Minor 6th chord. Alright, a minor 6 might be kind of confusing here, because with a minor 7 we have a flat 7th interval. A minor 6 we do not. A minor 6 is taking a minor triad, 1, flat 3, and 5, plus a 6. So he said E flat minor 6. All right, so an E flat minor 6. So first we need an E flat chord, or E flat minor chord, which should be E flat, G flat, B flat, and then the 6, which would be a C. So there are the notes for an E flat minor 6. Which is very Dorian. It's a Dorian sound, because in the Dorian mode we have a minor 6th chord. So if you want to make something sound Dorian, just play a minor 6th and you are gold. D13 flat 9. How the heck do we break that down? 13th chords. What's interesting about a 13th chord? It's a 7-note chord. Now I'm going to say something that might sound very strange, but when you play a 13th chord, and if you have all 7 notes in a 13th chord, you are playing all 7 notes of every kind of 13th chord that you can have. You're basically, if you think about it, you're just skipping every other note when you're doing a 13th chord. So if I skip every other note, climbing up from C to C here, we go C, E, G, B, D, F, A, and then back to C. That is a C major 13 right there. But if, again, we're just skipping every other note, but eventually we hit all the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. Make a major scale, which also makes a minor scale, which makes your Dorian mode, your Phrygian mode, Lydian mode, Mixolydian, Locrian. So every single 13th chord is an inversion of every 13th chord in that key. So looking at that chord on the screen there, D13 flat 9 says it is a dominant 13 with a flat 9. So to have a dominant 13 flat 9, start with a major triad again, and then we add the flat 7, which gives us our dominant 7. Now if we didn't have a flat 9, we would just have this. It would basically be a major 13 with a flat 7, which gives us a dominant 13. But like it says there, it's a flat 9, so we just go in here and flat the 9. Let me back that up a sec. There we go. So that's a dominant 13 flat 9 right there. We have the dominant 7, and then it says dominant 13, so that implies that there is an 11 in there, plus the flat 9. You're going to have a hard time just playing that chord on guitar. So what could you do if you wanted to play a chord that's a dominant 13 flat 9 but not an arpeggio? You actually want to do a chord shape. What I recommend doing is just play the first, the third, flat 7, flat 9, and the 13. The 5 is expendable. It doesn't add to the sound. It just really thickens up the root note. 11 kind of does the same thing. Not so much though, but in this case, I would say the most important intervals for this dominant 13 flat 9 are the root note, of course, and then the 3, the flat 7, because if you have a 1, 3, and a flat 7, it sounds dominant. 13 is in the chord title there, so yeah, we want to hear the 13. 13th interval is the same note as the 6th, and then the flat 9, because, well, it says so, and that's a very distinct sound. So let's see. D13 flat 9 is on the screen. So D13 flat 9. What are those notes? All right, we got a D, D, F sharp, A, and you may notice I'm looking down at my neck on the guitar every now and then, because I still, even though I've been playing for over 20 years, I like to reference the fretboard sometimes just to be safe. Make sure, like, am I really looking at this the correct way? Am I thinking of it the right way? Yes. So sometimes students of mine will be like, oh, I think I should be able to do all this stuff in my head. I'm like, why? Use the guitar. Just use it. Make it easier on yourself. We can always make things harder. We want to be able to do it easy first, and then we can make things more difficult. Stop trying to make things difficult first. Make it easy first. This way you can handle the difficult. Anyway, D, F sharp, A. And we got your C for the flat 7. Flat 9 is an E flat, and let's see, the 11th is a G, and then the 13, which is a 6, is a B. So that's everything there. So we want to arpeggiate that. D, F sharp, A, C, E flat, G, B. If we were to do a chord that we hold, remember I recommended just playing the root, third, flat 7, flat 9, and 13. So if we were to do just the chord, D, F sharp, it's the C notes, the E flat, and the B. So I did like a dominant 7. I could do that here. I want the flat 9 though, which would be done here. And then the flat 13, or there's the 13, which would be here. That is not fun to hold. So what's another way we could do this? Can we utilize open strings? Well, let's see. So if we have a D, F sharp, That's the 5. We don't need the 5. We need the 13 though, which should be here. The B notes. Yeah, that would be a B. We could also utilize the open B string if need be, because then we could do, there's your flat 7. We need an E flat, which would be right here. We could do it like that. 10, 9, 10, 8, 0. So that gives us our D. There is the F sharp. There's the C notes. There's the E flat. And there's the B notes. Let's see, what else? What other crazy crap does he got here? Holy mother of F. Alright, so we just did the dominant 13 flat 9. So F7 flat 9 flat 5. Good lordy lord, that is a mouthful. But what it is right there in the name. So that would be a dominant 7 flat 9 flat 5, which would give us a dominant 7th chord, 1, 3, 5 flat 7 plus a flat 9. Whoops. And we have to flat the 5. So there we go. 1, 3, flat 5, flat 7, flat 9. So he's got F7, F7, flat 9. Do it this way. Flat 9, flat 5. Holy moly. So those notes would be, all right, starting with almost an F major chord, F major flat 5, it would be F, A, C flat, not B, but C flat, because B is reserved for the 4th position. So anyway, so F, A, C flat, and then we need the flat 7, which would be an E flat, plus the flat 9, which would be a G flat. So F, A, I'm going to do this over here, F, A, C flat, which is Saria's song, or is it Saria's song? I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway. That's a very Lydian sound right there, so far anyway. So continuing, so F, A, C flat in this case to an E flat. That's not an E flat. That is. To a G flat. There we go. The notes for an F7 flat 9 flat 5. Saria. The second one, is that how I said it? Saria. So it sounds like Daria. Saria. Saria, yeah, so like Daria. Next on that list is an A flat 7 sharp 9. So that is basically a dominant 7 with a sharp 9. So that would give us 1, 3, 5 flat 7 sharp 9. There we go. Alright, so then an A flat 7 sharp 9, and you might also see the sharp 9 in parentheses. I really don't think it matters. I think it just makes it easier to read things sometimes. Alright, so we would need an A major chord to begin with, so A, C sharp, and E, plus the flat 7, which is G, plus a sharp 9, which is the same distance as a flat 3rd. So you basically have an A minor and an A major chord within this. That's an A minor and an A major sound at the same time. Because this would be a B sharp. So the ninth interval is the same note as the second interval. So if we go up a whole step, oh wait, A flat. Oh, I screwed that all up. I need to flat everything. It needs to be A flat, C, E flat, G flat, B. So the A flat 7 sharp 9 is played, they're arpeggiated like this. A flat, C, E flat, G flat, B. And then the B 7 flat 9, B, D sharp, F sharp, A, C. Holy hell.